So it's Monday night. I'm just in the process of fitting the replacement fuel pump that I found in the boot. Line from tank is plumbed in. You can see the return to tank is plugged back in there where it was just hanging loose in the engine bay. I've just got to connect up the return to the tank. I've just tested it. Petrol's coming out, so I know it's working. Let's go for test fire. So ignore the exhaust blow, but it's running off the mechanical fuel pump. Why was that fitted? No need. Well, one step in the right direction. Hello, welcome back to All Things Alex. In today's video I want to look at the exhaust system on the Renault 9. It now works without an electric fuel pump, that's brilliant, but we've still got the exhaust issues to sort out. So, I have bought a spare system should we need it, but I'm hoping to get around by fitting a new gasket and just realigning the exhaust from the downpipe. So while it's not a heat wave or raining, I want to crack on with that. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and I shall join you outside in a second. Right, so here is the engine of the Renault 9. It's a 1.4 litre. I want to get to the exhaust and manifolds, which is underneath this airbox, so first off we need to get all this out of the way. Right, so what do we got here? We've got a airbox which is on top of the carburetor, which is on top of the manifold. So most of that's going to have to come off. I'm seeing a bolt there, and some clips. There's a bolt to the lid. Let's just get some tools and see if we can get that off. So I'm doing this morning and I'm taking you along for the journey. So we're going to try and repair this together. Sorry for the jaunty camera angles, my tripod's indoors, I'm using my phone mount on the windscreen, but hey, if it works. How long is this bolt? Is it just turning on itself? Of course it is, yeah, brilliant. And why the hell would you do that? One moment. Someone's really bodged that. Right, that's that one out of the way. Same situation this side, yeah, lovely. Well, this one isn't turning with it, so that's good. Oh. Okay, one airbox. That was easy. We have a carburetor. Do you want to see? Part of the reason I'm doing all this is I can document what's going on. There's some. That should be attached to something, I'm sure. That's alarming. It doesn't look too bad to remove, but if I was going to take the manifold off, which I was planning to do at this point, because I don't know if the manifold gasket's any good. Because I want to take a look at the manifold and just to make sure it's not cracked or damaged. In order to do that, that's got to come out of the way. Great. Right, so the problem lies with the manifold, I think, or the manifold downpipe, which is down there. See where those springs are? That's the clamps to retain the downpipe to the manifold. I think it's blowing from there because you see that spring? Well, it's missing one on the other side, so I think that potentially the manifold is, or the downpipe is misaligned. To get to that, really, all these are going to have to come off. So, Right. Two bolts, or nuts if you like, to hold the carb on, one, and there's another one around the other side there, and then that should come out the way with a bit of wiggling. There's a throttle return spring, I can just disconnect that. I shouldn't have to disturb the choke mechanism or choke cable, which is that bit there. But the throttle, depends if I can. Yeah, really, it's going to have to come out of the way. How's that held in place then? Not the idea having to disconnect that, but I've got no choice really. Get that off. Like that, out of the way. Put that in the tool tray. How is that held in place there? Ah, does this? Ah! Is that? Well, is that easy? That's lucky, okay. I've learned something and so have you. That's cool. Let's get the carb off. Sod it. A riveting video of you watching my shoulder. I'm going to save my battery. I'll carry on doing this. I'll come back to you when I'm a bit more further forward with it. Right, you draw me a little further forward. Just disconnecting this. I presume it's a heater line, or don't know. We'll find out together. Oh yes, it is coolant. Okay. So it must be coolant. Cool. I don't know. No, that's definitely weeping coolant. So it's going to have to come off. So. So just to let you know where you are, that is a fuel line in to the carburetor. This is the vacuum advance, which I've just unplugged for the moment. I've undone the two 13mm nuts, so that should just come off now with a wiggle. I'm not going to disturb the fuel line or the choke cable, because in theory I should be able to place it up here out of the way, so let's give that a go. And there we go. Then you have a drip pan. This is just to catch any spillage from the carburetor, because obviously it's over the manifold, so you don't want petrol dropping onto the hot exhaust. So forward thinking, or they just presumed it was going to leak. And there we go. Yes, this I think this has obviously been apart recently, because that's a fairly new gasket, although it is cracked there, but that wouldn't have affected the performance. But I can get these thoroughly set before you even attempt to start undoing them. I'm going to do that now and I'll come back. One other thing to note, if you're taking all this apart, I just disconnected this line, which is for the brake booster servo. Goes to the brake master cylinder, so I presume that's vacuum pressure off the manifold, so that needs to come off as well. Right, let's get the manifold off. What could go wrong? Okay, slight change of plan. I'm going to abandon taking the manifold off for the moment, because I think it's going to be a pain in the arse. There's two, these are all nice and easy to get to, but there's two bolts underneath which I just cannot get to easily. I'm convinced that the issue is with the manifold downpipe, because you see there, like I said, there's a spring there, there's no spring on this side, and this has been bent up out of place. I've bought a spring kit for it, with a view to changing the exhaust, so I'm going to try and take all this apart and see if I can see what's going on. Report back in a bit. You need a deep 13mm socket to do this, because the nut is all the way up on the stud, so you'll never be able to get it off with a spanner. Well, not easily anyway. A little bit fiddly, but you can just about get a ratchet in there. Oh, that's gone loose. Back in a sec. Right, so I'm faffing around later. Got to get some cowboys in here. I've worked out why the exhaust is blowing. The clamp is bent because the original stud that holds the clamp to the downpipe is sheared off, so someone's just whacked a bolt in there, which isn't long enough to put the spring, which is why there isn't a spring. This is the good side, this is what you should have, so I'm off to my little motor factory to go and get another one of those bolts, and we'll get a washer as well and a couple of nuts. Then I need to unbend the clamp and see if I can get that stud which has been forced into the downpipe undone. So that's the side I've just undone, and that's come apart lovely. This is the side that's all bent up, and that stud's still in the block, so I need to try and get that stud out and replace it with what I've got on the other side, which is going to be a challenge. Might come undone. And I need to unbend this clamp. And also drop the downpipe, which will be fun, won't it? Anyway, I'm off to find a bolt. Back in a bit. Sit wrap, manifold studs. Bastards. So what am I trying to do now? I'm trying to get this stud out that's too short to refit with the new spring. I tried the traditional method of the two nuts, just turning it into one to see if it would come undone. Didn't want to budge. So then I remembered I've got a stud remover, and luckily with a bit of perseverance the bloody thing's come undone. So I'm going to carry on with that. Then I'm going to go to the motor factors and get the right bolts. But first I might get it cleaned up and have a cup of tea because I am filthy. That's better. Rightio, I've been to my local motor factors. I've been able to replace this bolt. I worked out this is the M8 bolt, 60mm long. And I found exactly the right thing. MAFCO part number 534-3242, bag of 10, M8 by 60mm. So that'll do the trick. I've also picked up some miscellaneous M8 mild steel and stainless nuts, nylock and standard, just to get us out of trouble. And I've also got two new exhaust tensioning springs. Now there's only one fitted on the car, so I don't know where the other one's gone, but obviously that bolt was too short. Now that I've got that out, I'm going to replace both bolts with new ones and two new springs just so it's got equal tension. So I'm going to finish my tea. The chocolate bar choice today is Dairy Fine Treat Size Dreamy from Audi. So we're going to have that now, and you're going to wait while I have it. I could skip on. Basically a Milky Way. Right, let's get on with it. Right, you see before you're a broken man. I have been on that for hours. In fact, I had to stop because I was running out of time. I had to take my other half to the dentist in Christchurch, which meant taking an hour out. I've come back. I gave up because these bolts are actually too short. I'm trying to get a spring on that with a washer, with about that much thread to get started, leaning into an engine bay, trying to get it started into the downpipe of the manifold with all the tension of the spring. Wasn't going to happen. So on the way back from the dentist I got those, which are too long. So I've cut them down. That's an 80mm, that's a 60mm, so somewhere in between. I cut a bit off with a hacksaw on a bench, which took forever, but I've done that. I've got it clamped back in place. I'm yet to test fire it. I've left the airbox off for the moment because if this doesn't work I'm going to set fire to the car because it has been a bastard. I'm not saying that lightly. There's a lot of noise around here. Anyway, I'll show you what I've been up to. Bloody hell. Right. I don't know what that is, but that's not the correct spring at all. It's far too short. In fact, it looks like a tension spring off a camshaft. Right. I don't know if you can see behind that clutch cable, there's a nice new shiny spring there. I've got the same again on the other side, so they're both under equal amount of tension. Lovely jubbly. Oh, not the camera there. I've left the airbox off because I'm just about to do a test fire, and also I put regular nuts, M8 nuts on there rather than locking ones because they're a bastard to get off. So it's all plumbed back in, chokes open, throttle return springs back on, accelerator cable, etc. So let's give this a test fire. Right, I've just cranked over a few times and doesn't seem to want to fire, so I had a look at the choke mechanism. That throttle linkage, sorry, the choke mechanism is sticking, so I also noticed a cable tie there. Has Derek from Vice Grip Garage been working on this? I digress. But that's now stuck open, so I'm going to give it a couple of cranks and see if she'll fire for us. And more importantly, have I cured the exhaust leak? Bloody hope so. I would say so. Bit of an erratic idle, but that could be carburetor settings. Still need to look at the choke, but at least that blow's gone. Ignore the fumes, that's just exhaust putty, I hope. Oh yeah, and I did spill some coolant, didn't I? So yeah, I'd say that's a success. Right, let it cool down and put it back together. Woo! There we go, all back together. And yes, I don't like the look of that radiator either. Luckily I've got another. Right, I'm going to leave it here, guys. I'm absolutely knackered. I need a shower, I need a cup of tea and some dinner. So loads of vacuum leaks going on, but I can look at those another day. I've just run out of energy for today. Anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. There'll be more content on the Renault 9 coming soon, where I've got some enthusiasm. See you soon.